without actually seeing it. Remember what did Jesus say to the good old doubting Thomas, who always gets a bad rap, by the way? He says, "You believe because you see, but blessed are those who believe without seeing." I'm paraphrasing that. That's what Peter's trying to say here. And of course, Peter was in the audience when Jesus said that to Thomas. So happiness is fleeting. Happiness is circumstantial. I'm happy if and when the Eagles win a football game. That's great. And that happiness lasts all of, an hour. And then life moves on. But true joy is found whenever I think of what's in these books. Whenever, personally, when I think of where I was before I personally was baptized. That's where my joy comes in, and that can last forever. There's an old preacher by the name of C.H. Spurgeon. He has a great quote. He was emphasizing to his class the importance of making the facial expression harmonize with the speech. He said, "When you speak of heaven, let your face light up. Let it radiate with a heavenly gleam. Let your eyes shine with reflected glory. But when you speak of hell, your regular face will do." Think about it. We get caught up in this, my feelings are going to drive me. One thing I'm going to say often here is, do not trust your feelings. I'm not saying they're not legitimate. I'm not saying we don't have emotions. Of course we do. It's not what we feel, it's who we are. Even more importantly, it's whose we are. God, and I've said this before, God's more concerned with our holiness than he is our happiness. Do you think God is sitting there right now saying, I really hope Juana has a good day. I really hope Juana is happy today. Well, he's probably thinking more along the lines of, I hope Juana's being a good role model today. I hope she's being a good Christian today. I hope she's experiencing joy and showing others the message of the cross. You can be in a lousy mood and still experience the joy. You don't have to always be happy. I'm not going to give you the Bobby McFerrin, don't worry, be happy. I don't believe in that pop psychology thing. We are who we are. We're also whose we are. And that's the most important thing I'm going to say today. So back to our inheritance. And we see in these verses that I read, there is grief. Because we have to sometimes deal with the trials. Peter had to deal with trials. His audience had to deal with certain trials. But isn't God happier with us when we overcome an obstacle? If you have more than one child, let's say one of them is brilliant and has gotten all A's her entire life and never really has to put up much of an effort. And then your other child, he struggles a little bit. He has to work twice as hard just to get a B. Who are you more proud of if they both come home with straight A's? The second one. Of course, that's not to dismiss anything the first child does. That really reveals who we are. We have to go through these challenges, and we can still radiate our faces with the love of Christ. That says a lot about you, but more importantly, it says a lot about him to other people. And really, that's what this is all about. Jesus Christ himself, he joyfully completed his mission. I don't think he was thrilled that he was about to take on the sins of the world. He didn't complain. And because of this, we are heirs to the most important inheritance you've ever seen. The inheritance of heaven. And in verses 8 and 9, I already kind of talked about that. Can you experience this joy, even though you have not technically seen him? And this is 2,000 years ago. Can you still experience? Can you imagine the joy that Peter and Thomas and all those guys had? Oh, Jesus just came back from the dead. That's amazing. We don't have that option right now. We don't have that luxury. Can you still experience that joy? It's all about love. Love is not about feelings so much as it about actions. How did God show his love for us? Did he feel his way into your heart? No. He allowed, and this is an action, he allowed his own son to be murdered for something he didn't do for all of us. That is a love, and that is an action. And then the end result of our faith, it's a promise, it's in here, it's our salvation. No matter what is going on in your life, there's that little light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it's even this small. Sometimes it's big. I'm here to tell you, it's not an incoming train. Salvation is real. I'll repeat what I said. I don't care about the weather. I don't care about the opposition or the persecution. I don't care about the fact that I do care about the fact that 125,000 babies are murdered every year and they call it freedom of choice. Of course we care about that stuff. That's not going to stop the gospel from being spread. It's not going to stop the fact that you've been baptized, and guess what? You have eternal life. Yes, we want to change what's going on in the here and now. But at some point, we have to just trust in God. At some point, as Michelle would say, and since she's not here, I can say this. She says, sometimes you got to put your big boy pants on and be the voice of reason in a world that has none. Where are the kids going to get their information if not from us? From TV? Are you kidding? From the radio? From movies? No. It takes a nation of Christians to get this right. Well, we're not going to have those last few slides, so we're just going to end then. Like I said, we have to be the light in the midst of incredible darkness. Now, Peter no doubt struggled to find words here. But we can find joy in the past. Remember, we have, when you are baptized, justification happens right away, and you're being sanctified. We're being more in Christ's likeness. We can focus on the present because, hey, we are with all our brothers and sisters right here, right now. This is a safe place for us to be. You have to be joyous while you're in here. There's no reason not to. And then in the future, which is the end result of our faith, which of course is salvation. Was Peter joyful? I would say he was. Peter knew, and this is something we should all know, it's not how we feel, it's who's driving our car. And of course that's Jesus. I'm okay ceding my control to a Lord who died for me. And I hope you are too. So as we close, Hebrews chapter 1 verse 3 essentially said, Jesus is what God looks like. And this is the God that we need to discover, or maybe you need to rediscover him. And this isn't a choice. You don't get the God that you want. This isn't the God of my understanding. This is the God who is. This is the God who created you. This is the God who created this whole world in 6 days. That's the God we get. Personally, I'm okay with that. And as a congregation, I pray that we find hope in these. I pray that we allow Christ to be the Lord of every moment of our lives, not just when we're in church, but when we're out, especially when we're out, because that is when we can influence others. I pray that we allow the eternal to dominate the temporal. And I pray that beyond a shadow of a doubt, that God will finish the good work that he began in all of you. It's quite an inheritance that we have. We need to go out and claim it. We will never lack joy again. If there's anyone here who has not yet been baptized, or maybe needs to come forward for another reason, come talk to me immediately after church or one of the other leaders here, and we'll help you take that first step toward eternal life. Now we will stand and sing.
Would you live for Jesus and be always pure and good? Would you walk with him